It's April 21st, 2016, in Boone, North Carolina. Boone is a bustling college town nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains, home to Appalachian State University. On this Thursday afternoon, everything seems perfectly ordinary. Around 12:30 p.m., 19-year-old Martin Roberts steps off a bus near the campus convocation center. He's riding Apple Cart, the free local transit system serving the university and surrounding county. He bumps into his cousin, chats for a moment, and then walks away into the crowd. He is wearing a black windbreaker and gray sneakers. That walk is the last time anyone confirms seeing him. When Martin fails to make an expected call to his father, Boone police launch a massive multi-agency sweep. Searchers scan the nearby Trout Lake Reservoir with sonar and dive teams. They deploy cadaver dogs across the land and water and launch helicopters equipped with FLIR. FLIR stands for Forward-Looking Infrared, a thermal imaging technology used to detect body heat in dense areas. But they find nothing. In the 9 years since that afternoon, searchers have not recovered a single thread of his clothing, his backpack, his state ID, or his physical remains. The search grid spans an unforgiving, sprawling expanse of wilderness. Instead of physical tracks outdoors, investigators find a jarring collection of items left behind in his apartment. Martin abandoned his phone and his laptop. They also find a Ziploc bag of unprescribed antidepressants and a handwritten note. To figure out where Martin went that afternoon, police first have to unravel exactly who he was at the time. They soon discover that the young man who vanished in the physical world was already disappearing behind a carefully constructed double life. Martin's freshman year at Appalachian State had been rough. A DUI arrest following a fraternity party and a breakup with his high school girlfriend led him to take a semester off. But by early 2016, his family believed he was in the middle of a successful comeback. This timeline shows the life Martin projected to his family, enrolling in community college, signing a lease, and applying for restaurant jobs. But the forensic reality reveals he secretly stopped attending classes and lied about the job. The two lives diverge entirely approaching April 21st. He was also actively isolating himself. Martin had quietly left his fraternity group chats. Combined with the unprescribed medication found in his room, a picture emerges of a young man secretly buckling under distress. The note left in his room contains no explicit plan to end his life. Instead, it reads as a poignant expression of profound shame. He writes about his deep disappointment in himself, labeling himself a failure and apologizing for wasted opportunities. The gap between the optimistic comeback he sold to his family and the compounding reality of his academic and personal setbacks created an intense psychological pressure cooker. Based on his psychological profile, investigators focus on two main theories. Either Martin deliberately walked away to start a new life, or he took a one-way trip into the mountains to end it. The evidence for an intentional disappearance is compelling. Martin took his state identification with him, but purposely left behind his phone and laptop. By abandoning his trackable electronics, he ensured no one could follow his digital footprint. However, the overwhelming despair in his note points strongly toward suicide. Martin loved hiking and camping. It is highly plausible he sought out a remote mountain area he was so familiar with to carry out a final tragic act. If he did take his own life, the question remains, where is his body? As you can see in this image of the Appalachian Trail, the incredibly dense terrain near Boone features thick vegetation and rocky crevices. These deep root systems can easily conceal human remains for decades, foiling even the most thorough search teams. Other scenarios hold less weight. Foul play or an accidental injury in the wilderness seem unlikely. His last sighting was in the middle of a busy campus in broad daylight, and police found absolutely zero evidence of a physical struggle or any distress calls. The investigation remains stalled because the physical clues we have, the missing ID card, the abandoned smartphone, and the handwritten note, perfectly support both a successful escape from his old life and a hidden tragedy in the woods. As we move through the 2025 and 2026 calendar years, 9 years have passed. The Boone Police Department still considers Martin's disappearance an open and active investigation, even as leads have gone cold. The search relies heavily on modern tools. There is a $10,000 reward for information, and investigators circulate age-progressed photos showing what he might look like in his late 20s. The case has also been fully digitized by Team Adam consultants from NCMEC. NCMEC is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, an organization providing specialized resources and expert case reviews to local law enforcement. For Martin's family, this ongoing search is a daily agony. They are trapped in an endless cycle of uncertainty, unable to finalize their grief or find closure without definitive answers. Martin's story serves as a stark example of the quiet escalation of mental health crises among young adults. College students frequently face immense self-imposed pressure to succeed, and their struggles often remain entirely invisible to the people closest to them. There is a severe danger in unspoken shame. The expectation to project constant progress can force a struggling student to hide their academic and personal failures, building a facade that eventually becomes impossible to maintain. We must normalize open conversations about setbacks and the reality of failure, because when a person feels they have to carry the weight of an illusion entirely on their own, the eventual collapse can leave a void that lasts forever.